Lisa Anderson, President of LMA Consulting Group and the Innovation Awards Chair at today's Manufacturing Summit of the Inland Empire. I'm here with Dianne Garcia, who's President of Lorraine Consulting and also an LMA Associate. And we're going to be talking about what is happening in manufacturing and supply chain and what's going to be happening in the next year or so as we're continuing to see growth and success. So one of the things that I see is that Amazon is transforming the way manufacturers and supply chain organizations do business, even though none of my clients compete directly with Amazon. What are you seeing?
Agreed. They don't compete directly with Amazon, but they are impacted by the Amazon effect. So clients in the oil and gas, building products, consumer product industries overall have to maintain that requirement that Amazon has ultimately provided to their customers, and so therefore reduce lead times, understanding customer needs, and being able to change and be responsive to those customer needs is critical. And is that what you're seeing, or similar traits, or maybe just different traits overall?
Well, I'm absolutely seeing speed is the name of the game. If you're slow, you'll be left in the dust. There's no doubt about that. But also, as the Ontario Airport CEO said on a panel that I did at last year's Supply Chain Summit, the last mile has become the last minute because customers change their mind all of the time. It's really surprising how, even though, like, for example, in aerospace, there's 3-year contracts, 5-year contracts, yet they change like daily somehow. So I'm seeing that that's absolutely a top challenge. What are you seeing that your clients are doing to be successful in this new era where you have to be quick and responsive and even customize on the fly?
Well, overall, I think that, especially aerospace industry, they do have the data, they do have customer portals, they can see the demand. But overall, it's just really using that, performing more analytics on it, being just more, getting more historical data, but then maybe figuring out how to use that data better is probably the biggest thing. And to really understand, long-term needs of the customer, not just what's happening today or tomorrow, but really what's expected to happen over the long term. So,
yeah, I totally agree. At one of my aerospace customers, we implemented a process where we took the data from the portals that changed every day, but if we looked at it over time, you could get a decent picture of what the demand really was, and then if we started at least contacting suppliers and potentially bringing in some of those materials ahead of time for the key items, we were able to have products available for the customers when they needed them, even if that was after they changed their mind and figured out that they needed them. Mm-hmm. And so we were able to be much more successful in doing so. So I think you're absolutely right that...
And one more thing to add to that is that you're right. So customers, they may think that they are looking at the data, but if you go back far enough and you look at the trends, you realize that more or less they are predictable. So having that supply chain up to speed, getting your material requirements known, not only internally, but to your external suppliers, is just, maybe companies need to go back and take a look at that a little bit further.
Yeah, I see that there's so much data out there today, and with all of the technology, ERP systems, we have an overload of data. So if we could take the data that makes the most sense and use that to our advantage, the strategic use of data is I think it's a forward-thinking topic in today's world. And then actually, the more data you have, I find that high tech has to go hand in hand with high touch, and so it's the people that really make a difference. Have you found that to be the case when implementing improvement programs?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think just at the summit here today, the different speakers from Fender and from Tesla just overall touched on that. And it seems like it's a huge challenge that manufacturers, not only in California, but all over are facing, is just a skills gap. And I would say the key takeaway today was focusing on your employees. I mean, the focus is always on the customer, but it's also your employees are really making the difference, and they're really going to help you at the end of the day make a better product and improve customer service.
Yes, as my consulting mentor is famous for saying, have you ever seen a happy customer with an unhappy employee, at least longer than a couple of days? I never have. So I think it's a really good point. You have to start with your employees, and of course, from there you branch out to your customers and look to see what, try to get ahead of them. What I find is that no one can know what innovation might be taking place tomorrow. Even the best innovators are out there, and the best R&D experts out there are trying to keep up with what their customers are looking for. And sometimes we just have to look at what the customers are having to deal with that they didn't necessarily, they don't even necessarily know they're having to deal with it, and think about something that they may have never asked for, but they need. So are you finding that customers provide input on the innovation side of things, or can you get information from them on that front?
Yeah, usually it's just a matter of asking, or maybe just more organizational processes that support that month over month routine. So really internally working on your business processes that you can ask for the information. They'll usually provide the information, and then taking that and making useful and good decisions from that information. So.
Yeah, that reminds me that one of my employees, when I was a vice president of operations for a manufacturer, had the best track record at predicting demand, not only for us, but for our customer. And it helped us to win #1 supplier of the year for 2 years in a row. And we asked her for a tip as to how we were able to achieve this great success on the demand plan. She said she just picked up the phone and asked about exceptions that were somewhat obvious. The data and the systems we had helped point it out, but it was simply asking.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be surprised what you can get by asking, and the collaboration that that you can instill within your employees, within different functions of the facility, but then to your external partners, your suppliers, your customers. So yeah, it was a great summit overall, and enjoyed it.
Yeah, very good. Well, I'm seeing in today's world, to summarize this, that looking at the demand side of the equation is a great place to start. If you start with your customer and where they're going, you can better align it with your supply, your capacity, your people, what kind of skills you might need, and you can create a resilient supply chain so that no matter what your customer might change their mind to wanting tomorrow, you'll be ahead of them, or you'll at least be equipped with flexibility and agility to be ahead of your competition and be able to provide what your customer wants, maybe even before they ask for it.
So after many years of working with the manufacturers and distributors, what would you say for 2019 that your clients, as well as other companies, should be paying attention to, or really just what are your predictions for 2019?
So what I see is that exactly what we've been talking about. Demand is key. If you can look into your supply chain and go a couple of layers deep, you can get a far better idea of what's really going to happen, and you can then align your supply with your demand. So you can make sure you have the right machines, the right people, the right skills, the right buildings. There's all sorts of elements that you can make sure align successfully. And then most importantly, get your people to understand where we're going in this coming year, and how they contribute to the bottom line and how they contribute to the success of the customers. And I find, similar to what we talked about earlier, that if your people are on board and successful, just like Tesla mentioned earlier today and Fender Guitar mentioned, you'll be far more successful. So to summarize from that point of view, I think we need to look at creating a resilient supply chain where we're much more agile, flexible. We don't let setbacks, take us off track. Instead, we bounce right back and actually see them as learning opportunities. I mean, it's sort of the point of the lean journey, is to see mistakes as good. It's not what we've traditionally thought in the educational system, but I see it as, if we can encourage and celebrate mistakes, so long as they're not repeated mistakes, we're going to be able to innovate, and we're going to be able to be much more resilient so that we can thrive. And in the Southern California area, we're number one when it comes to manufacturing. And the U.S., although a lot of people think it's dead, it's very far from dead. It's extremely alive. So I think we have a vast opportunity to grow and succeed and to contribute some really high-paying, good jobs to the economy. So I'm really looking forward to the following year. And if we create a resilient supply chain and create happy employees and happy customers, we'll be successful.